Alright, so this is the wife's car. It's a '06 Audi A4 B7, the 2.0 FSI Quattro, the automatic Tiptronic. Anyways, anybody who has one of these cars and DIYs it, you work on it yourself, you don't take it to the shop, and you haven't done this yet, let me let you know, this ain't that bad. A little bit of a pain in the butt, but it ain't that bad. So if you've got a leak, where's my light? There it is. If you've got a leak coming from the driver's side, pretty much the only oiling that is over here, let me state an oil leak coming from the driver's side. The only oiling that's over here is the oil filter and the filter housing and the oil cooler. So see if I can get you a good shot. That's the oil filter cooler housing, and that's the oil filter. Anyways, so if you get a leak, it could be your oil filter and cooler housing, which I thought it was, but it turns out I was wrong. I was like, oh, it's got to be a gasket. So I ordered the gaskets, take all this crap apart, replace the gaskets, and in replacing the gaskets, I'm looking at my oil filter housing thing, right? And upon inspecting it, I'm like, oh man, what the heck? This thing's like cracked or degraded and falling apart, right? So especially where the water jacket part is, there's supposed to be a plastic lip here, but it just degraded over time and started falling apart, and when you touched it, it'd break off and fall in there. So if you've got that issue, or you find out that issue, you've got to get a new whole freaking housing. They're not real expensive. There's the other side of it, but it's just an annoying hassle. Like, I could have just replaced the gaskets and been done, but no. Anyways, so I get a new one of those, get all that replaced, and I've still got a little bit of an oil leak. It's coming from this damn cooler. And what had happened is, okay, you see how like there's individual little sections here, and what it looks like is they like brazed these all together and smashed them down and kind of crimped one on the other. But anyways, I don't know exactly how they're made. This is what it looks like. But the issue that I had is there was a seam, the final seam before it crimped or whatever, brazed to this plate. There was the final seam that would be right here, goes all the way around, but I welded it closed. And I welded it up all the way around. I thought I could just do that part, but no, this thing's the way that it's made, and yeah, anyways, I ended up having to go all the way around and weld this thing. And anyways, I got it all welded, but the coolant flange that bolts on top of this requires it to be, I can't even see what I'm recording, requires it to be, a perfect, sharp, crisp right angle. So how my welds bevel out right here wouldn't let me bolt this back on, because you couldn't line up the bolts and get everything. Anyways, so it's weldable, it's all aluminum, but there's no point unless you want to weld it, grind it, file it, to try to make it back to where you could bolt it on. I mean, if you've got the dedication and the time to do that, more power to you. But this part isn't real expensive. They got one for 40 bucks. Somebody makes one for 50 bucks. Somebody makes one for 130. The Audi one is like almost 300. Anyways, you know, for all the time and effort, filler rod, gas, I just bought a new one. After, you know, I'm a DIYer. I like to do stuff myself and make it work. But for all the hassle, I just bought a new one. I ended up getting this not to leak, so I got it sealed back up. You see how I had to chase crap out right there, and you know, I ended up going over here, going over there, then I pressure test it. Anyways, long story short, got it not to leak, but after it's all said and done, it wouldn't bolt up, and I just ended up getting a new one. So tidbit information, I've done a lot of my own work on this car. You know, I could go on and on. Maybe I'll start making some videos of me working on this car. If anybody's even interested in that or not, I don't know how big the aftermarket slash OE Audi interest is. I think they're pretty cool cars, but anyways, you know, if you're interested in it, let me know. I'll start making some videos when I have to work on this thing, and we'll go from there. So thanks for watching and taking interest in my video, and glad I could share some information with everybody, and y'all have a good one.